think I found something.
You've been saying that for the last 3 hours. It's dark, I'm cold, and I'm tired. Can we go now?
I didn't travel all the way to Loch Ness and rent this big old boat so I can sit in a hotel room. We are here to find some answers.
Answers to what? All that expensive sonar gear has found are 2 old car tires, a '69 Cortina, and a giant ferox trout you named Angus.
Wait. I really think I found something on the sonar. It's big, whatever it is. It's heading right toward the boat. Look, right there. Shine a light on it.
Where? I don't see... Wait. What is that? It looks just like...
The Loch Ness Monster?
Hello there! You are not the easiest person to find. I've been trying to reach you about the extended warranty on your car.
Run!
Welcome to the Parsonage Files.
To the Parsonage Files. My name is Rick Burke, and I have been a United Methodist pastor now for well over 20 years. And in that time, I've collected all kinds of interesting stories to use in sermons and the like. And here on the Parsonage Files, we are going to look at some of these stories that I have uncovered over the years that just are never going to make it into a sermon. And with me on this journey is my brother Rob. Hello, Rob. How are you?
I am rocking like docking this morning.
You know what? It just occurred to me that the opening here is a lot like the opening to a 1980s sitcom.
How's that?
It gives you the entire plot every single time.
It does. It's sort of like Alf. Like you learned how Alf ended up on Earth.
Or on Different Strokes, you found out how Mr. Drummond wound up with Arnold and
Willis?
Willis. Yeah, Arnold and Willis.
I was going to more say how it was that Tony Danza ended up living in Connecticut, but...
Right, yeah. And he found the whole
story
thing
right
out
there. Yeah.
every single time. So to those who are listening, you are welcome, because apparently you have a very short attention span. I don't know.
Or we're just assuming that someone from last week
Isn't
tuning
listening
back
this
in.
week.
It's a new group each week.
That is probably the safer thing to expect, that we're getting a different group each week, because the good Lord knows the chances of someone coming back for a second helping ain't great.
It's low. It is low.
It is definitely low. So on this version of the award-winning Parsonage Files, I thought we might take a look at a story that I have had in my files for years. I think it's a fun story. It's a wonderful story, but it is never going to fit into a sermon anywhere. It is the story of Saint Columba and the Loch Ness Monster.
The Loch Ness Monster is the comfort food of cryptozoology.
It certainly is. I love Nessie. You know, it doesn't matter what people say about her. I still believe.
Right. I mean, back in the day when you'd watch, what was that show? Monster Quest.
Yeah, yes.
And any episode that had either Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster on, I was in the entire time.
You know what? When I was a kid, I always thought that in my lifetime, somebody was going to figure out
Yes.
the Loch Ness Monster.
Absolutely. I thought so too.
If you would tell me I would reach this far in my life and we would, A, not have more definitive proof of the Loch Ness Monster,
Right.
and B, have found Bigfoot yet, I would have been shocked.
Well, I would have also thought I would have been stuck in quicksand.
Yeah,
some
you
point.
know what? It also seemed like, quicksand would have played a much bigger part in my life than what
Right.
it ever has.
Mhm.
Stop, drop, and roll has never, I don't think I've ever really used stop, drop, and
I
roll.
just had this conversation home the other day.
Yeah.
Never once have I ever by chance needed it.
No.
So we should probably just do it on randomly. Just walking down the street, stop, drop, and roll, just to use what you learned.
So,
Back to the Loch Ness Monster.
yeah, enough of this silliness. It's now time to get down to serious work and a serious topic, the Loch Ness Monster. Now, Rob, I asked you to do some research on the Loch Ness Monster. What did you find out?
Actually, I found out a lot of information that I did not know. it was a really great learning experience for me, dude. I'm kind of stoked about sharing what I learned.
All right. Now, from what I know about the Loch Ness Monster,
Mhm.
is that there's really kind of two different legends here.
Correct.
You have like the ancient legend, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
And then you have the one we have currently, where people are taking pictures of heads sticking out of the water and
Selling all their worldly possessions and moving into a camper near the lake.
oh, what was that guy? The guy who sold. Hold on here.
Yeah, the
This
dude
is
that
why
makes-
I have Google.
the guy that makes the figurines.
Yeah. All right. So I will read.
Let me back up for those of you who might not be into the lore of the Loch Ness Monster. If you watch any documentary from, say, the mid 90s on, there's always a guy they interview who gave up his life to search for the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, his name is Steve Feltham,
Okay, yeah, okay.
and according to Google, which is the source of all knowledge,
All knowledge.
he is the only full-time Loch Ness Monster hunter, and he has dedicated his life to searching for the creature since 1991.
That's dedication to a cause.
All right. Now, Steve here, he decided that to get some answers, he sold all of his earthly possessions to move to Loch Ness, a quest that was initially expected to last only 2 years, but has continued for the last 3 decades.
Wow.
And as I said, he's considered the world's only full-time Nessie hunter and a tourism ambassador for the area.
Ding, ding, ding,
All right.
ding, ding.
How does he support himself? He makes a living by creating and selling handmade models of the Loch Ness Monster.
Right? That's what I know about this man.
His home. Feldham lives in a converted van, not down by the river, but down by the lake or down by the loch, which he has equipped with a bed, a desk, and a cooking area, and has plastered the sides with maps, photos, and books about the loch. Notice there is no bathroom in this van.
That is, yes.
So either he hasn't used the restroom in the last 30 years or he has other accommodations.
the loch is his bathroom?
I'm going to guess the Porta Johns there at the park that he's parked in.
They got really lenient rules about
They
how long
must
he
have
can hang
really
out.
lenient rules where he can live in Scotland. And his philosophy is his desire to live a life without regret, and he encourages others to pursue their passions regardless of how unusual they may be.
So he has apparently no regrets.
And you know what? I can sit here and try to make fun of this guy, but you know what?
God bless him, man.
He's the one living the life he wants to live, right?
Absolutely.
And in a van down by the river.
And he's the one that's been on the Travel Channel, not
Right,
me.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You Google me, and I'm not coming up.
I
with
don't have
all-
I don't have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, so that's the modern version of the Loch Ness
And we're
Monster.
all very familiar with that.
We're very familiar with that, but that's not what we're talking about. So Rob, what are we talking about?
We're talking about St. Columba and his encounter with a monster. He didn't call it the Loch Ness Monster. That kind of came later.
But it was
a monster
at Loch Ness.
At Loch Ness. So
hence the Loch Ness
hence
Monster.
the Loch Ness Monster. And this story is referenced all the time if you watch documentaries on the Loch Ness Monster of being the earliest known encounter with the creature. I never until this dug into the actual story of it. It's a lot more to it than what I actually had thought. It's a great story. And so you ready to get into this, Pastor Rick?
Let's not bury the lead.
That isn't based on constructive criticism from listeners.
Probably not listeners as much as those poor people that have to listen to me on Sunday mornings where they're like, is he ever going to get to the point? Oh, that's the point.
There's a point. Get to it.
You're right. Yeah. There's a point. Let's get to it so we can go home, right? So let's get to the point of this podcast right here. And that is St. Columba and his run-in with the Loch Ness Monster. Rob, tell me about this run-in.
So to kind of set the stage, St. Columba and his group of missionaries and priests, they're out looking to plant churches around Scotland. They make it up to the River Ness. The river is super wide, running fast right through here. It's kind of in the northern part of Loch Ness. And so they ponder what to do. And so St. Columba looks at his group and he's like, walk with me. We'll walk up the shore a bit and see if we can find a better crossing.
Right. Makes sense.
So as they're walking up the shoreline, they hear a noise, chanting in the distance.
Now, just so everyone knows, at this time, Scotland was not Christian.
Correct.
They were pagan, and they were inhabited by a tribe known as the Picts,
The Picts. So
which the Romans feared.
they did fear them.
Yeah.
And side note, I believe they're called the Picts because of all the tattooing they had on their bodies.
Really?
That the Romans that came from the Latin for picture.
See, somebody paid attention in college.
Look at me. Yeah.
Look at you.
So think Columba and the group are walking up the shore. They hear a sound. They're not sure, it's chanting of some sort. They're kind of unclear what's happening. But as you said, Pastor Rick, that they're there to spread the gospel. In general, the Picts are friendly to them, but not always. So they're not sure they really don't know what's about to happen.
Just like today, when you're doing evangelism, you're not sure what's going to happen.
Not sure what's going to happen. And so as the group progresses down the shoreline, they also see smoke starting to rise above the trees.
Okay.
When the group makes it into a clearing, they can see below them what they're not really sure what's happening, but it's clearly some type of pagan ceremony. It looks like a burial ritual, to be honest. And so Columba and his group bow their heads and begin to pray to God, just
Out of respect.
out of respect.
Yeah.
And when the ceremony appeared to be over, Columba went down and approached the group and asked them, hi, who he introduced himself. They're Christian missionaries, and what seems to be the problem. The pagan elder looks at Columba and is like, this young man has drowned, and we're celebrating his life and returning him to the earth. Columba sees how sad they are, and he feels pity on them. So he kneels down next to the young man. And he looks down, and this young boy had apparently drowned. And so Columba looks out at the pagan chieftain and says, it's apparent that we worship a different God, but I want you to know this. I want you to know that my God defeated death, and therefore I want to show you the glory and grace of my God and bestow upon you the same victory as my Lord had. With that, Columba laid his staff. He walked around with a big staff, laid his staff across the chest of the young boy, and began to pray. And he says something along the lines of, through the power of my Lord Jesus Christ, arise, my son. And miraculously, the boy takes a deep breath, kind of shoots up, spits out some water, and is alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. And so everyone is super joyous. The pagans, the Picts, they are hugging the priests. There is this boy has been brought back to life.
I'm sure, the monks are high-fiving each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
A big victory for Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so then following that, they spent several hours preaching to the locals.
Well, that would definitely get their attention.
It would. And so and it had discussion, prayer. And so as the evening was winding down, they're getting ready to move on. The elder of the tribe, it's like, what you have done, we can never thank you enough for what you did for bringing back this young man to us. Is there anything that we can do for you? And Columba's like, no, there isn't. The only thing you could really do is remember how our God did this for you. And when we build our church here come next spring, please come and visit with us and help us share Jesus Christ with you again.
Wow.
And the elder, the Picts are like, absolutely. I mean, the least we could do, you saved our child's life. So, and they're like, is there anything else we can do for you? And Columba's like, no, you've done quite enough. The only thing that we could ask of you is, we noticed there's a boat of yours in the middle of the river. May we have that so we can cross and continue on our journey. And the chief priest, chief of the tribe, whatever this guy was, he's like, if you were asking for anything other than that, we would give it to you. We owe it to you. You've brought back this young man to us. But we can't. See, here's the thing we didn't really share with you. This young man drowned not by an accident, because he was attacked by a monster. He and another young man were in that boat, crossing across the river when they were attacked. When the monster attacked them, he threw the first child clear of the boat, and he was able to swim to the shore alive. He's standing here next to me right now. The other child, the monster grabbed, took to the bottom of the river, and Eventually, his body came to the surface. My men went out and gathered the body and to bring him back, and were attacked themselves by this monster. So, see, Columba, we would give you anything. We'd give you the boat, but we can't, in good conscience, allow you to go out in that water
Because it's not safe.
It is not safe. It's already killed one person. It's attacked by pan. We cannot do that. And Columba's like, I see.
And that explains why the boat's in the middle
And that's
of
why the boat's floating
water.
in water. And so Columba leans over, whispers something to one of his monk's ears. The monk shakes his head, takes off his clothes, dives into the water, and starts swimming for the boat. Now, one can only imagine what's going through that dude's mind. Like,
He's like,
did you just not hear this?
you want me to do
Right. Yeah. Did you just not hear what that guy said?
that seems like maybe he might be abusing his subordinates just a bit.
Right. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
But the monk sheds his gown and dives into the water and is heading straight towards heading for the boat. And everyone runs to the shore. They're kind of like, what's going to happen? They're looking around. What's about to happen here? And sure enough, you see.
Is this when the Jaws music starts?
Right, exactly. And
And
you start to see a something coming to the surface, and it's much like what you expect the Loch Ness monster to look like. You see like humps coming up, making S curves through the water, heading towards them. The pagans that are standing there, they're screaming. They're like, "Dude, you gotta get your guy back. You gotta come back. You gotta get him back." And Columba's like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And so this monster's closing in on it. And you can just imagine this in your mind, which is like, so this monk's swimming, right? He's heading out to the boat. He looks over his shoulder and he sees the Loch Ness monster heading towards him. He picks up the pace. He's swimming faster. And Columba's like, it's gonna be okay. And this guy's like, I don't know, it's gonna be okay. And he's swimming faster. He gets, and so the monster's closing, and the guy and the priest in the water dives into the boat just as the monster gets there. The monster, according to the story, raises up above the boat, kind of, like a big fish hook above it, and starts growling at him.
Well, back up. It growls?
It growls. It growls. And
Is that Jaws 3 where the shark growls?
I don't know.
It was one of the later Jaws where like Steven Spielberg has nothing to do with it.
Right.
The shark growls.
Sharks don't growl. But Loch Ness monsters apparently
do. Okay, sorry.
And so as the story goes, the monster's above and is doing its monster thing. It's hissing at him. Its gills are open. You can see, its tongue flicking, and like a snake. It's described a lot like a snake, right? The head of it, it's got a flicking tongue.
And it has gills.
It has gills, a flicking tongue, and two slits for a nose. Is what it was described.
So very much like a reptile, or maybe even a fish with gills.
Right. The gills is a little weird, but
yeah, it's all weird.
But and it's hissing. It's got the big jagged teeth, and it's hissing at this poor priest in this boat. And everyone on the shore, they're just going nuts, right? They're like, we told you this was going to happen, dude. This is why the boat was floating. And Columba just raises his staff up calmly. And so you got to imagine this guy raising his staff up. So this guy Columba is described as tall with a beard, very stately looking, almost like a Moses kind of character.
I was thinking Gandalf.
Lord
of the Rings.
Yes. So he raises his staff, and he says, "You will go no further. Do not touch that man. Leave at once."
So he is Gandalf.
Pretty much.
You shall not pass.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And so and this is the interesting part. And this is described by witnesses as the monster reared up, and it was like it was grabbed by invisible ropes, pulled back. And it didn't just like swim off and go away. Oh, no. It got pulled back like God had lassoed it, pulled it back, and sucked it back under the water. At that, then the priest in the boat rowed the boat to shore. Everyone from Columbus party got in it. They thanked the natives for their hospitality, wished them well, and that they would see them come spring when they build the new church in their area. And then Columba headed off on his way.
Now that's a story right there.
Yeah.
That is a full day of ministry.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
All right. Not only did you pray and see a young man be brought back to life, but then you, through the power of the Holy Spirit, vanquished a sea monster.
Right.
Or I guess in this case, a lake monster.
A lake monster.
Or a loch monster.
So that is the story.
You know, the more I listen to this story, the more I'm seeing ways I really probably could have used this in a sermon.
Because of the vanquishing of the monster, he raised someone from the dead, that they converted a lot of people to Christianity that day, and that his legend just grew. Columba's legend grew after this.
All right, Rob. Clearly, somebody told us the story of Saint Columba. Who
Correct.
recorded the story?
It came from a guy named Adam Non.
He's a saint, I do believe. Is he not?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, he's a saint. And where was he from?
Iona?
Okay, well, that makes sense because Saint Columba founded the monastery in Iona.
The way I understand the story is that Adamon was writing what's known as a hagiography of Columba.
A hagiography is basically a biography of a saint. And it records their miracle, basically everything. It explains why they're a saint.
Right. It includes things, like miracles, their trials, their veneration. And did you know the word comes from ancient Greek for holy writing?
I probably knew that at one point. I'm
Uh-huh.
pretty sure I probably had a
Yeah.
test on that at one point.
So Adamon was writing this about Saint Columba, who would have been his predecessor as the head of this monastery, and a man that he held in great respect.
Yeah.
From my understanding, is Columba was a contemporary of Benedict, and so it's kind of this continuation of the Benedictine order of the leaders through of that. So that's why Adamon was writing this story, and so I actually have a copy of it in front of me. You can get one for free too if you go to Google Books or just Google Adamon's name.
It's free?
It's free. I'm looking at it right now. Let me pop it up right here. It's a Penguin original, copyright 1995. It's riveting. It's the life of Saint Columba, an island soldier and warrior of the Irish.
Now,
you can't just write that about somebody if it wasn't true.
well, the stories of the saints, they tend to be a little bit, how do we say it? Maybe a little spiced up.
Spicy stories. Yeah.
Yeah, you get your stories of people being raised from the dead, but you also get stories of people flying.
It would not be something like we would consider a modern biography of history today.
Well, historians use them because they do contain facts. In a lot of cases, there aren't a huge amount of documents about the particular person, but yeah, there are some clearly stories that are meant to convey particular piety, let's say, rather than an historical fact.
Correct. So, and if you look at others that are compiled about other saints, like Saint Brendan, he encounters a sea monster on his voyage. Saint George, he slews the dragon famously, which a lot of people know that story. Saint Mashua, if I'm butchering that, my Catholic friends, I apologize. And he revived a man swallowed by a lake monster. So very similar there. So you see the same narrative carried across a lot of these. So you kind of, when you hear that, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt that this happened to Saint Columba the way described in the writings.
Right. So Saint Columba, he is from
Ireland.
And so he is sent from Ireland over to Scotland. Now, Rob, why was he sent from Ireland to Scotland to convert the Picts?
Well, because
other than following the commands of Jesus.
The commands of Jesus. He was responsible for a small skirmish because of a copyright infringement.
All right, do tell.
So the story goes that Saint Columba apparently liked to steal other people's.
You mean borrow without permission?
Borrow without permission. So
because there is no stealing in the kingdom of God. It's just borrowing without permission.
No. So this whole incident would come to be known as the Battle of the Book.
Okay.
And so the story goes. Let me open it up here. It even has its own Wikipedia page. So you don't get a Wikipedia page
unless it's a major incident.
So it took place in the 6th century. And so the basic gist was there was a dude named Saint Finian. And by all accounts, he had written lots of different things. It was a scholar and was the head of a different monastery.
And another major religious figure, iconic figure in Irish history.
So Finian had written a book. And at the time, you just got to remember, it wasn't like you typed it out or photocopy it. You would have to hand write these things out in a scriptorium.
So books were
rare,
expensive. people would travel great distances
to read them and access them. And that's going to be an important point of this story here momentarily, Pastor Rick. So Saint Columba turns up at the time, just Columba turns up at this monastery, sees that Finian has this writing.
So Saint Columba goes to Saint Finian.
Goes to his house.
Right, they're both saints.
Right.
Or they're becoming saints.
Right. And so he's a guest in Finian's home, and Finian shows him this writing he has down that he had spent all his time, and it was psalters. I'm not 100% sure what a psalter is.
A psalter psalm.
Okay.
So it's a book of psalms.
So that is what leads to this war. And so St. Finian had written this out, and it was apparently, by all accounts, really awesome. And so awesome that St. Columba's like, I really wish I had me a copy of that.
Oh, no.
And so Columba went down, and again, there's no photocopier, went down and hand wrote the book and his and hand copied the book. So stole the dude's work, rolls up the copy. Columba's like, I'm gonna take this with me. And Finian's like, no, you're not. That's my work. You just stole it. I wrote it. And Columba's like, it's not your work. I wrote it out of my own hand. It's not infringing on your work. It's my work. It came from my hand. And God inspired me.
So it's a copyright dispute.
It's a copyright dispute. And so Columba takes the stolen manuscript and heads back to his place with it. This cheeses off Finian. And what you have to worry about or remember is that at the time, the aristocracy of Ireland was intertwined with the monasteries and the leadership of the monastic orders.
Because there was money and power.
So you have one family fighting another family, and they had to get it settled. And so they take it to the king of the area and like, hey, this dude stole my stuff. And they're like, I wrote it out. It's not stolen. The king needs to solve this problem.
So basically, Finian got his guys together.
Yep.
And Columba got his guy. So it's sort of like that park scene from Anchorman.
Yes, exactly. Just like that scene.
And
that escalated quickly.
And things escalated quickly.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. And so as part of the settlement, after 3,000 casualties of this conflict.
So I just see these like these two saints with their like, miters and the whole thing. And these monks, in their robes walking and for some reason in my mind, I just keep hearing this song from Michael Jackson, Beat It, playing.
Beat it! Yeah. No one wants to be defeated. Show them how funky. Show them that.
Whatever.
Right? Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But so
they're all doing this kind of snap.
I you know what?
Like Jets and Sharks style?
I gotta tell you. Yes. I see West Side Story.
They had a dance off.
But with clerical robes.
So there was a small skirmish, and
I'm gonna get the manuscript tonight. I'm gonna get the manuscript tonight.
That's exactly how it went down.
Yeah,
exactly. So there was this little hiccup. The king's like, hey, Columba, that was kind of a jerky thing you did.
It was a jerky thing.
You kind of took it. You need to go pay some penance for this.
And his penance was what?
For every life lost in the battle, he needed to convert 5 Christians, 2 Christians, someone to Christianity. I'm not 100% sure. He had to convert people to Christianity.
So, and you quote out, he needed to convert thousands of people to Christianity to pay for what he did.
To pay for his sin of stealing someone else's work. So, yeah.
So that's why he gets, so he's off to Scotland, not because he had necessarily a heart for converting the Picts, but because he was ordered to do so for penance.
Basically. Yeah. Now I have heard some scholars discussing it, that the reality really wasn't over this book. They were fighting. It was feudal lords fighting each other, and he was on the losing end of that battle, and his family, and he had
and he got kicked out of the country.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with the book. But as time went on, the story.
But it's a much better story.
It's a much better story that he stole a dude's book, and it was the first copyright infringement.
Much better story.
Yeah. So, regardless, or maybe he really was called by the Lord to go to Scotland to convert.
Well, you know what? God can use all kinds of situations.
Including copyright violations?
Including starting a small war over stealing somebody's work.
Right.
Okay, Rob. Now, St. Columba is not the only person supposedly saw the Loch Ness Monster.
He is not.
So, in October of 1872, a man by the name of D. Mackenzie reportedly saw an object resembling a log or an upturned boat, quote, wiggling and churning up the water, moving slowly at first before disappearing at a faster speed. And the account was not published, though, until 1934.
Don't everything isn't a boat when it's sinking pick up speed as it gains water?
Listen, the account was not published until 1934 when Mackenzie sent his story in a letter to one Rupert Gould shortly after popular interest in the monster increased. So it's got to be true.
I don't know how it wouldn't be.
All right. In 1888, a mason, and I'm not sure if they meant that he was somebody who laid brick or if he was a
Masonic Lodge member?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Mason means in this, but by the name of Alexander MacDonald,
These are really stereotypical
They really do.
Scottish names.
he sighted a large, stubby-legged animal surfacing from the loch and propelling itself within 50 yards of the shore where MacDonald stood. MacDonald reported his sighting to Loch Ness water bailiff Alex
He's a water bailiff?
What's a water bailiff?
A water cop?
I guess.
And then what does your job entail?
Maybe making sure you're
I mean,
not...
were there frat guys out drinking on boats?
I have no
mean,
idea.
What were they doing?
And he described the creature as looking like a salamander.
Huh?
Can I just tell you, this guy, that wouldn't do me much good because I can't tell you the last time I saw a salamander. All right. The best known article that first attracted great attention about the creature was published on May 2nd of 1933 in the Inverness Courier about a large beast and whale-like creature. The article by Alex Campbell, again, water bailiff of Loch Ness. Rob, can you look up what a water bailiff is?
Yep.
And a part-time journalist discussed a sighting by one Aldy McKay of an enormous creature with the body of a whale rolling in the water in the loch, while she and her husband John were driving on the A82 on 15 April 1933.
Would you like to know what a water bailiff is?
Yeah, what is a water bailiff?
It's a public official who enforces laws and regulations related to waterways, rivers, and fishing. They act as law enforcement officers on the body of water, patrolling for things like illegal fishing and ensuring compliance with rules like having fishing licenses. Historically, the role has also included other duties like customs and managing port affairs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And the word monster was reportedly applied for the very first time in Campbell's article in 1933. Although, according to Wikipedia, some reports claim that it was coined by editor Evan Barron himself. Do you believe?
I believe.
Do you believe? If not, how about the story of one Hugh Gray, who took a photograph near Foyers on November the 12th of 1933, a banner year for Nessie sightings. And it was the first photograph alleged to depict Nessie. It was slightly blurred, which means that her pictures have always been blurred. And it's been noted that if one looks closely, the head of a dog can be seen. Gray had taken his Labrador for a walk that day, and it is suspected that the photograph depicts his dog fetching a stick from the loch.
Or that, yeah.
Others, though, have suggested that the photograph depicts an otter or a swan.
But none of them prehistoric plesiosaurs.
And you're going to find this odd, and I mean, I don't know how this happened, but the original negative was lost, so no one can examine it.
Oh, shame how that happens.
Amazing. It's blurry, and the negative was lost.
Always disappears.
However, in 1963, one Maurice Burton came into possession of two lantern slides, which I'm guessing is like a slide projector. Contact positives from the original negative. Oh, the projector you use to make prints. Okay. And when projected onto a screen, they revealed, what do you think's of the picture, Rob?
Something blurry.
An otter rolling at the surface in characteristic fashion.
And the fact that they've done scientific studies of Loch Ness and that unless biology operates differently than we believe, there's not enough animal life.
That's big science.
Big science.
Big science.
There's not enough, and there's not enough to support a creature, a life to support a creature that big.
You explain to me this.
Okay.
Arthur Grant. On the January 5th of 1934, a motorcyclist, one Arthur Grant, claimed to have nearly hit the creature while approaching the town
He's just
of
darn lucky he didn't die.
Aberconn at about 1 a.m. on a moonlit night.
Ah.
According to Grant, it had a small head attached to a long neck, like some people I know. The creature saw him and crossed the road back to the lock.
So it's skedaddled with the salt.
It skedaddled. Grant, a veterinary student, described it as a cross between a seal
Not
and
even a
plesiosaur.
veterinarian yet, just a student.
But he described it as a cross between a seal and a plesiosaur, two animals he probably had never seen. My own editor. But he said he dismounted and followed it to the lock.
He dismounted his trusty metal steed to slay the monster as it went into the lock.
Yep. Grant produced a sketch of the creature that was examined by zoologist Maurice Burton, who stated it was consistent with the appearance and the behavior
Of a sea monster?
of an otter.
Of an otter.
Regarding the long size of the creature reported by Grant, it has been
Wait,
suggested.
how big is this otter that he's making?
I don't know, man. These otters must be huge.
I mean, otters are like
It was
small
a
dog
faulty
size, right?
observation due to poor light conditions. I might add, maybe a little,
drinky drink.
maybe. Paleontologist Darren Naish has suggested that Grant may have either seen an otter or a seal and exaggerated his sighting over time. Do you believe, Rob?
I do. I mean, how can you not?
All right. How about 1955? One Peter McNabb. Peter McNabb, on July 29th, 1955, took a photograph that depicted two long black humps in the water. The photograph was not made public until it appeared in Constance Waith's 1957 book on the subject. I'm sure you've read it.
It's right on my bookshelf.
On October 23rd, 1958, it was published by the Weekly Scotsman. Author
Love the Weekly Scotsman. Got great haggis recipes.
It does. Author Ronald Binns wrote that the phenomenon which McNabb photographed could easily be a wave effect resulting from three trawlers traveling closely together up the lock.
Or a sea monster.
Sounds like just a different version of swamp gas to me, my friend. Other researchers consider the photograph a hoax. Roy Mackle requested to use the photograph in his 1976 book, and he received the original negative from McNabb, but discovered it differed from the photograph that appeared in Wright's book. The tree at the bottom left in Wright's was missing from the negative. It is suspected that the photograph was doctored by re-photographing a print.
You know, and whenever you watch a show on the Loch Ness Monster, you want to believe. Sort of like Bigfoot, right? You want that to be there. And it's not that out of the realm of possibility.
So are you still not believing? Are you still not believing?
Necessarily that's convinced me.
All right, one last one. In 1977, Anthony Doc Shields. Whenever somebody's name is Anthony Doc Shields, you know there's somebody you can trust.
Kind of doctor was he? To say?
He wasn't. He was a magician. And he was camping next to the, and I'm not even going to pronounce it, the castle there that you always see next to Loch Ness.
I know the one you're meaning.
You know what I'm meaning.
The dilapidated one there.
And he took what were alleged to be the clearest picture of the monster then available. Shields claimed to have summoned the animal out of the water. He later described it as an elephant squid, claiming the long neck shown in the photograph is the squid's trunk, and that a white spot at the base of the neck is its eye. Due to the lack of ripples and a translucent look, it has been declared a hoax by many people and received its name because of its staged look. And the name that most people give this, the Loch Ness Muppet.
Oh, that's sad.
You look like you don't believe. These stories have not changed your mind at all.
You know, they have not, Pastor Rick.
Okay. Well, in that case,
But it doesn't mean don't want to go and look myself.
If these don't change your mind, I don't know what I can do. because clearly there's something here.
There's something.
There's something worth me quitting my job, taking Owen's van, and living down by the loch
Making statues of the
and
Loch Ness.
making statues in my free time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which you have a lot of if you're living by the loch.
You do. Oh, yeah.
Not a real busy schedule.
Okay, Rob. All right. So, what we found is that the story could be legend, maybe is, maybe
Could be.
not. But what it showed was a demonstration of God's power over nature.
Absolutely.
Is what the whole story was meant. Now, we today take this story and run with it because of the Loch Ness Monster legend. But it was originally written down not so much to talk about the Loch Ness Monster as it was to show God's power.
And here's the theological question that you may or may not know an answer to.
Yes.
So as Protestants, we kind of don't have the mysticism that Catholicism has. We have taken that out in general.
We tend to lean a little bit more to the academic side.
And so do we lose something spiritually by doing that you would get, not by taking the story seriously, but it adds a little.
Well, I think
I don't know where I'm going with that. Is that even a full sentence?
Yeah, no. I think we sometimes lose the, hate to say whimsy, but the whimsy of faith.
Yeah.
And that Jesus used stories that were a little whimsical to teach religious facts. And clearly that's what the early church did. And that's what even the medieval church did.
Right.
Use these stories. Do I think that priests, when they were teaching in the Middle Ages and talking about these stories that supposedly happened to the saints, really thought this all happened? No. But it was a way of illustrating a spiritual truth. And so I think getting back to that is not a horrible thing. I mean, we obviously don't want to lie to people and say this is for sure true, but say, here's a tale.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's great because I think that this is a fun way of telling folks and showing folks a spiritual truth, which is that no matter what you are facing, no matter what the monster in your life is, God is still greater.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's clear that it was paired with the story of the little boy's resurrection, right? To show God's power over death, God's power over the world. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
Now, do I think there's really a monster living in Loch Ness? No. I mean, I don't know how that would work. But again, weirder things have happened.
I'm still going to go look for him, though.
Absolutely. So thanks to everyone who listened to this episode. And if you are looking for a church this Saturday, we would invite you to join us at Groveport United Methodist, online or in person, 10:30 a.m. every single Sunday. You can visit our website at groveportumc.org. Until next week, take care. God bless.